So do we have evidence that UFOs are actually alien spacecraft? Well, look, some people spotted this UFO over Liverpool. And boy, that looks like an alien spacecraft, doesn't it? But yeah, the next day we realize it's just the undercity of the Radio City Tower. Or how about this phenomenon here? A lot of people were saying this was aliens, and this is some weird electric reaction. Look at how it reacts to the electricity in the pole. And we could say maybe this is aliens, but as scientists, we've now discovered, no, it's not. It's something called ball lightning. And so as scientists, we can really discover the true nature of what is out there. So we have to use the scientific method, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. So here you are today to answer the age-old question of, are we alone? And I have to now give you the definitive answer to that, and that's, I don't know. So let's try to search and see if we can discover what might be possible, because several years ago, some NASA scientists discovered this thing here from Mars that actually looked like evidence of microbial life on Mars. In fact, Bill Clinton went out to the White House lawn and stated, for sure, the scientists told him, we have found alien life on Mars. This is the picture of it. But the more other scientists analyzed this evidence, the more they realized, no, there was many other things that could cause this thing, and therefore it is not definitive proof of alien life on Mars. But then there was this fellow that came along by the name of Enrico Fermi, a physicist, many decades ago, and he was having lunch with his physicist friends. He was part of the Manhattan Project, and they got talking about alien life and thinking there's got to be alien life all over the world, but why haven't we met them yet? And so he asked the question, where is everybody? And that question became to be known as the Fermi paradox of, yeah, alien life's probably all over the place out there, but why haven't we met them yet? So there's many different possible solutions to the Fermi paradox. I'm not gonna get into all of them, but some of them talk about the fact that aliens do exist, but the reasons why we haven't met them, or maybe they do not exist at all. And so there's been books written about 600 solutions to the Fermi paradox, and we're going to explore some of these solutions today. And as Carl Sagan says, the universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, seems like an awful waste of space. But just to mention a couple of the solutions to the Fermi paradox, one is that we live in a simulated world, that maybe some advanced alien species has created an advanced computer program, and we're living in the simulation, with different Hollywood movies that have been made, like The Matrix, where it talks about how now we're just part of some simulated world out there. Or maybe the aliens are already here and they're living with us. The best Hollywood movie for that, of course, is Men in Black, where, the aliens all over the place, but we just kind of ignore them. But let me talk about some research from Indiana University that talks about how Earth may be home to 1 trillion species, but we've only identified 1,000th of 1% of them. And not only that, but 99.9% of all life that has ever existed on Earth is now extinct due to certain cataclysmic events. What that means is, on Earth, there have been about 1,000 trillion life experiments that can inform us about what the aliens might look like, because we've got 1,000 trillion experiments that have happened right here on Earth that might help us determine what the aliens might look like. So let me share with you my solution to the Fermi paradox. And I believe that microbial life and intelligent civilizations are incredibly common throughout the entire universe, but so far apart in space and time that we'll likely never, ever meet those advanced intelligent aliens. So first of all, the fact that the universe is huge. There's got to be life out there. In fact, this is an actual picture of a comet, and scientists made some amazing discoveries where they're finding water vapor and organic compounds and amino acids. These are the precursors to life, that maybe life on Earth was seeded by some of these comets that landed on Earth billions and billions of years ago. So the kind of stuff that makes life here on Earth, like carbon and oxygen, is common throughout the entire universe. Microbial life and extremophiles are all over Earth. So we look deep in caves without any light, and we find microbial life living off of the sulfuric acid on the walls of the caves. You take a gram of soil on Earth, and there's 1 trillion cells, 10,000 different species of bacteria. So if we got a gram of soil off some alien worlds, why wouldn't we expect to find bacteria on those other worlds as well? Or this crazy little thing called a tardigrade. Maybe this is evidence of life that has joined us from some other alien planet. It's really weird. These tardigrades can withstand 1,000 times the lethal dose of X-ray radiation. And if they run out of water, they can curl up into something called a tun and go without water for 100 years before waking up again. So might there be life in our solar system? Of course, the place where we have to look is in the habitable zone between Venus and Mars. But on Mars, for example, there's underground liquid water that we found on Mars. NASA has found evidence that billions of years ago, Mars was loaded with water, and we see evidence of rivers and oceans and river deltas and things like that on Mars. Even methane that shows up every spring on Mars, maybe that's evidence of microbial life living underneath the surface. But not only Mars, we can even look at the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, because those moons, like Enceladus, have huge underground oceans that could be loaded with alien life like we have here on Earth. So we've actually had missions that have detected and sniffed out things that are shooting out of the surface of Enceladus that we may be able to find alien life in the future. So what's happening there? These huge cryovolcanoes are shooting out, showing evidence of underground oceans. The moon itself is being warmed up by tidal heating. It's getting squished and stretched by its host planet. And maybe there's hydrothermal vents at the bottom of that ocean. And our hydrothermal vents at the bottom of our oceans are literally loaded with life. So maybe these oceans are also loaded with life, similar to what you're doing. The other thing I wanted to mention is how big the universe is. This is our closest neighborhood star, Proxima Centauri. You might have heard that's only 4.2 light years away. But guess what? That is 40 trillion kilometers, or 26 trillion miles. If you wanted to go to Proxima Centauri with our fastest spaceship, it would take you 6,000 years, okay? So that's why I say stuff is so far away in the universe, it would be hard for us to meet some of these other aliens. So why haven't we been visited by aliens? I'm going to close with a bit of a history of the entire 13.8 billion year history of the universe. And I'm going to compact it down to 1 Earth year to give you a perspective, because we have trouble dealing with billions of years. And here's what the calendar would look like if the Big Bang happened on January 1. Our solar system and Earth didn't show up until August. Single cell life developed soon after that, but advanced animals didn't show up till mid-December. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for a couple of days from December 26th to the 28th, but humans didn't show up until the last day of the year, December 31st. In fact, we were so slow to show up that we didn't even show up until the evening of the 31st. Where at 9:30 our ancestors and Australopithecus showed up, then Homo erectus showed up. Homo sapiens didn't show up until 8 minutes to midnight. And guess what? Advanced intelligence didn't actually show up until 1/4 of a second to midnight. So once again, if there's advanced aliens out there, maybe they showed up here back in September and we weren't around to meet them. So it's a great big difference in space and time, making it very difficult for us to meet some of these aliens.